You think Jamaica's sprint queens just win medals? Think again. Jamaica's real power isn't only on the track, it's in the hands of black women who turned fame into equity, contracts into quiet real estate, and headlines into leverage. Today, we reveal the richest black female athletes in Jamaica and the number one whose hidden moves, money, and mysteries tell a story you were never meant to see. Let's get into it. 11. Brianna Williams. Brianna Williams isn't just another sprinter. At only 17, she became a double world under-20 champion, earning comparisons to her mentor, Shelly Ann Fraser-Price. Then in Tokyo 2020, she helped Jamaica win gold in the 4x100 relay. But what many fans don't know is how carefully she manages the parts of her life she keeps off the track. At age 18, she bought her first house in Florida, a rare move for someone still finding their way in pro athletics.
Just purchased her first home at she's 18 years old. At 18 years old.
She also carved out quiet luxuries. Endorsement deals with brands like Nike and Grace Kennedy have built her income early, and she invests much of it into fashion, fitness, and wellness. One of her biggest hidden battles came in 2019 when she tested positive for a banned diuretic after using medication to treat a cold.
Coming weeks after testing positive for the banned diuretic hydrochlorothiazide, Keon Rayner has the details.
Instead of a lengthy ban, the panel cleared her of intentional wrongdoing, and she returned stronger.
Do the reasons after the fact. But let's not kid ourselves. We all know why from day one I have wanted an expedited hearing.
The episode rarely gets mentioned now, but for a teenager under global scrutiny, it was a life-changing moment that shaped how she protects her image today. Another little-known side to Brianna is her commitment to giving back. She supported youth sports programs in Jamaica and often shows up at grassroots events without fanfare. It's a side of her that rarely makes the news, but speaks volumes about her vision beyond sprinting. Brianna also guards her personal life. While her social media shows training sessions, fashion shoots, and brand collaborations, she rarely shares details about her relationships or family life. Insiders know she's deeply connected to her Jamaican roots despite being raised in Florida. For Brianna Williams, the real secrets lie not in controversy, but in how she balances pressure, privacy, and rising stardom. And while Brianna Williams polished her brand with glossy appearances and guarded lifestyle choices, the next name on this list built her empire in a completely different way. 10. Khadijah Bunny Shaw. Khadijah Bunny Shaw didn't crawl toward the top, she exploded there. From Spanish Town to the Women's Super League, Shaw became Jamaica's all-time top scorer and a household name in women's football. Her Manchester City contract, a golden boot season, and a reputation for clinical finishes turned her into a marketable star almost overnight. One detail she's kept a secret for years is the fact that her nickname Bunny stuck years before she became a professional football player. She actually hated it at first, since it came from her older brother calling her Bunny because of her big teeth and eating carrots as a kid. She cried over it, but she turned it into her brand. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 99% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. The name Bunny is now on her jersey, which once embarrassed her, she embraced and owns.
Why do you think this nickname stuck with you?
Because they would make fun of me with it. And I would cry all the time and I would get so frustrated and I would hide.
Off the pits, she shoulders family responsibility as the youngest of 13, and on the pitch, she's had to absorb racial and online abuse that money can't erase. When the abuse spiked in 2025, Man City publicly condemned the attacks and passed information to authorities.
Manchester City say they are appalled that their striker, Khadijah Shaw, was subjected to racist and misogynistic abuse following Sunday's WSL game against.
Proof that even the biggest contracts don't protect players from harassment. Shaw also had to deal with injury disruptions that tested more than her body. She's spoken about traveling across continents, long flights, tight schedules, and not always getting the rest she needed. That wear and tear shows up in her play, her moods, and the way she frames success, not just by goals, but by what she survives. There's also the money work you don't see. Her 2023 contract extension with Manchester City locked her in through 2026, which gave her financial stability and predictable income. That security let her quietly invest in community projects and funnel support into girls' programs in Jamaica. Bunny Shaw's resilience was surely powerful. However, the next athlete on our list faced a scandal that nearly erased her medals when a positive test dragged her from the podium into the courtroom. 9. Sharon Simpson. Sharon Simpson's name is etched in sprinting history. She won the Olympic gold in the 4x100 meters relay in 2004, a silver in the 100 meters in Beijing 2008, and a Commonwealth double gold in sprints and relays. Her 10.82 seconds personal best in the 100 meters and 22.00 seconds in the 200 meters in 2006 placed her among Jamaica's fastest ever.
Barber kan inte alls följa med. Simpson bara glider ifrån och vinner fullständigt överlägset. Vad blir tiden på Simpson? 10.91 igen.
But her climb wasn't free of shadows. In 2013, she tested positive for the stimulant oxylafrine at the Jamaican National Championships, a moment that shook her legacy.
For Powell and Jamaican teammate Sharon Simpson have each tested positive for banned stimulants.
She blamed a supplement from a new trainer, saying she'd researched it thoroughly before using it. Still, she didn't declare it on doping control forms, and the panel judged her negligent. The ban was severe, as it was originally 18 months, but after an appeal via the Court of Arbitration for Sport, it was reduced to 6 months. When you think of sprinters and motherhood, you expect pauses. Sharon surprised many by returning to competitive form after giving birth to her daughter, Leanna, in October 2016. She came back in 2018 and continued to compete through 2019 before announcing retirement.
Getting back on track now, Olympic and World Championship medalist Sharon Simpson.
Sharon smartly utilized her return from ban and from childbirth as testimony more than spectacle. Her fashion sense, her style at events, and her public appearances show an attention to her luxurious image. Sharon Simpson's real secrets aren't about golden spoons. They're about grit, mistakes, motherhood, and how she controlled the narrative when the sport threatened to control it for her. Sharon Simpson fought her way back from bans and doubts, but the next name didn't just fight. She redefined what longevity in sprinting could look like. 8. Merlene Ottey. With a nickname like Queen of the Track, Merlene Ottey became shorthand for sprinting excellence. Over a career that stretched across 3 decades, she piled up Olympic and World Championship medals, and that constant presence on podiums translated into appearance fees, ambassador roles, and steady endorsement work. Fans booked her for speaking gigs, and promoters booked stadiums to see her run. The money followed the legend, but Ottey's rise wasn't a simple fairy tale. In 1999, she faced one of the sport's ugliest moments when a test flagged nandrolone. Headlines shouted scandal, and sporting authorities threatened bans. Ottey fought the findings through appeals and legal challenges, arguing procedural errors and inconsistencies. The controversy never fully vanished. It shadowed her through press conferences, selection meetings, and locker room whispers. Then came the split that stunned many Jamaicans. After the Sydney 2000 selection disputes, Ottey accepted Slovenian citizenship in 2002 and ran under a new flag. To some, it felt like betrayal. To others, it read as survival, a way for an aging champion to keep competing and to cash in the opportunities left. The move opened European markets she hadn't tapped before. Media contracts, regional sponsorships, and paid appearances across the continent. Ottey turned setbacks into negotiation leverage. She parlayed global recognition into coaching clinics, branded appearances, and ambassador deals that paid better in Europe than many Jamaican tracks could. She also cultivated agents and promoters who protected her income during turbulent seasons. Ottey secretly mentored young sprinters and pushed for better competition structures. That work deepened her relevance and made her name sellable long after the world stopped asking if she was past her prime. Her brand endured because she kept showing up and reinventing herself, always. Merlene Ottey stretched her career across 7 Olympics and stirred debates that still spark arguments today. But the sprinter who followed in her footsteps didn't just carry the torch, she lit up a new era. 7. Veronica Campbell-Brown. Veronica Campbell-Brown arrived at stardom as a sprinting royalty. With 2 Olympic 200-meter golds, multiple world medals, and decades of podium finishes, turned her into one of Jamaica's most bankable athletes. Promoters paid for exhibitions, brands wanted her on campaigns, and speaking fees stacked up. But in 2013, the script flipped. A sample taken at a Jamaican meet tested positive for a diuretic. She was provisionally suspended, and for a moment, the medals and endorsements were at risk.
Jamaica's twice Olympic 200 metres champion Veronica Campbell-Brown was suspended by her national federation on Tuesday following a positive test for a banned diuretic at a meeting last month.
The JAA cleared her with a public warning, saying the substance likely came from a cream she'd declared using, but the IAAF appealed, and the whole case ended up at the Court of Arbitration for Sport. The episode exposed how fragile an athlete's earning power can be. Sponsors pulled back fast when the scandal hit, and the legal fight costed her time and money. There's also a quieter, smarter side to her playbook. Rather than vanish, Veronica leaned into credibility-building moves, ambassador roles, grassroots clinics, and selective media appearances that framed her as a leader in women's sport.
But I don't think I will return to the Masters. I'm just enjoy working out now, staying in shape, inspire people to be healthy, and also
those choices created alternative income streams that survived the headlines: speaking fees, regional sponsorships, and long-term partnerships that don't evaporate after one bad news cycle. Veronica's biggest secret to her wealth might probably be the fact that she didn't let her scandal tear down the charge. She found other ways to keep the money flowing and the narrative salvageable, not just an athlete, but a resilient public figure who learned how to monetize redemption. Veronica might have rewritten her legacy after switching from track and field, but you won't believe how the life of the next athlete changed after switching from the 400-meter to 100-meter and 200-meter. 6. Shericka Jackson. For years, Shericka was overshadowed by other track and field athletes. Teammates like Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price and Elaine Thompson-Herah took the spotlight, while Jackson quietly ran 400 meters, collecting bronze medals but never being billed as Jamaica's next superstar. Her secret weapon? Patience. She waited out the shadows until 2021, when she switched from the 400 to the 200 meters.
Thompson-Herah is knocking on the door as well. Step forward, Shericka Jackson imperiously, and she steps away in great style.
That decision rewrote her legacy and her bank account, turning her into the second fastest woman in history over the distance. However, she's always kept secret as to why she suddenly switched events.
I want one line. Tell me why. Tell me the absolute truth. Why?
I switch event?
Yes.
I don't know. I think I'm just so good at all events.
But there are secrets behind the medals that don't make the highlight reels. The first is rivalry. Insiders say the Jamaican sprint camp is a battlefield of egos, and Jackson's cool demeanor hides clashes with teammates who didn't like her sudden rise. Training schedules were shifted, relay lineups debated, and rumors suggested some within the camp weren't thrilled watching her become the new face of the sport. She never addresses it publicly, but those tensions shape how endorsements and media coverage get divided. The second secret? Money discipline. While other athletes flaunt cars and estates, Jackson is rumored to funnel much of her appearance fees and bonuses into low-profile investments. Real estate in Kingston, smaller business ventures, and even tech partnerships have her set up for wealth that will last longer than her sprinting prime. And then there's the most overlooked part of her career, the mistake. At the Tokyo Olympics 200-meter heats, she slowed down too early and missed qualification.
Here, the Australian running well, but Shericka Jackson all at a canter. Jackson and IE and
the world laughed, saying she threw away her chance. Jackson turned that embarrassment into fuel, sharpening her edge until she delivered a world title and record-breaking runs in 2022 and 2023. That's the secret she keeps closest. Humiliation can be a weapon if you know how to spend it. Shericka turned humiliation into gold, but the next name shows what happens when Olympic medals aren't the final chapter, because this athlete swapped the track for Parliament, and her secrets followed her from the finish line straight into politics. 5. Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn. Juliet Cuthbert-Flynn isn't just an Olympic medalist. With 2 silvers and 1 bronze across the 1992 and 1996 games, she cemented herself as one of Jamaica's sprinting greats and secured endorsements that padded her wealth during the 90s. But medals weren't the end of her story. While most athletes fade into coaching or business, Juliet made the unusual leap into Jamaican politics, where her fortune and influence grew in ways that still raise eyebrows. One secret behind her success is how seamlessly she transitioned her fame into votes. Fans who once cheered in stadiums became constituents cheering her name on the ballot. She used her reputation to win a seat in Parliament and later became a junior minister in the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
We will have to make the choice a choice between moving forward or turning back, a choice of who will lead us.
That political role gave her more than a new salary. It brought influence, connections, and access that shaped her financial security in a different way arena. But politics shone the light on another side of her. Juliet became a vocal supporter of decriminalizing abortion in Jamaica, a move that split public opinion sharply.
Why they choose to have an abortion, it is possibly their circumstance why they choose to have an abortion. And that person was me at the age 19.
Conservative groups attacked her, saying she was betraying Christian values, while women's rights activists rallied behind her. The backlash wasn't just about health policy. It threatened her image as a role model athlete turned leader. She also clashed with critics over her openness about Jamaica's health system flaws. Some insiders whispered that she was too blunt, risking party discipline for speaking out. Others quietly admired her willingness to air truths that politicians usually bury. Juliet Cuthbert Flynn made her mark on the track and later in politics. But the athlete on my list built an empire, ditching gold medals for investments. And today, she's celebrated as one of Jamaica's wealthiest women. 4. Trisha Bailey. With a name now attached to 7-figure gifts, Trisha Bailey's story reads like a business playbook disguised as a memoir. She first earned attention as a standout student athlete at the University of Connecticut, but she didn't stop at medals and diplomas. Bailey moved into finance and then medical recruiting, growing a cluster of companies that supply equipment, staff, and services to hospitals and clinics. Over time, those businesses turned track grit into serious capital. Bailey rarely made headlines for flashy endorsements or reality TV. Instead, she bought influence through deals, acquisitions, and reinvesting profits back into healthcare and staffing ventures. That approach let her keep a low public profile while scaling up operations across the US and investing in projects back home in Jamaica. Her most visible move came when she made a historic donation to UConn Athletics, the largest gift of its kind, and later funded scholarships and student-athlete facilities.
Her investment in UConn Athletics will fund a state-of-the-art facility renovation that will be at the heart of the student-athlete experience, the Bailey Student-Athlete Success Center.
That act turned whispers into questions. How did a one-time college runner go from subsidized team travel to writing multi-million-dollar checks? The answer was steady: decades of compounding business income, selective public appearances, and a tight circle of advisors who shielded deals from public view. There's a darker chapter she's been open about too. Bailey has spoken candidly about surviving abuse and poverty, and she frames her philanthropy as repayment, helping the next generation avoid the same traps.
And then how do you feel like those traumas actually helped you today, if so?
It gave me the ability to release. Once you release pain, you can replace it with love.
She uses those stories to galvanize fundraising and to position investments as moral obligations rather than mere PR. That combination of personal narrative and strategic giving keeps her reputation spotless while amplifying influence. While Trisha Bailey built her fortune and influence away from the track to earn the title of the richest woman in Jamaica, the next woman on this list made a name, earning the title of fastest woman in Jamaica. 3. Elaine Thompson-Herah. Elaine Thompson-Herah has always been said to be the woman who dethroned legends, winning back-to-back Olympic doubles in the 100 meters and 200 meters at Rio 2016 and Tokyo 2020. Those races made her the fastest woman alive and sent her brand value through the roof. Puma, appearance fees, Diamond League prizes, and bonuses from the Jamaica Olympic Association turned her into a multimillionaire. For a brief moment, she wasn't just Jamaica's star, but Jamaica's sprinting's global sprinting queen. But the medals hide the secrets fans don't see. The first one is her war with injuries. Hamstring and Achilles problems plagued her for years. Doctors doubted she'd even make it to Tokyo in one piece, yet she stunned the world by dropping 10.61 seconds in the 100 meters.
Nice. They're side by side, they're neck and neck. Two icons, two stars, but it's Elaine Thompson-Herah.
What fans didn't know was the risky therapy and endless rehab bills behind the scenes, investments that kept her on track but nearly broke her body. After Tokyo, Elaine left the MVP track club and legendary coach Stephen Francis, accusing the camp of not believing in her. Francis fired back with pointed comments, and the fallout shocked the sprinting world. Rumors circulated about money disputes, disagreements over management deals, and resentment about who truly deserved credit for her Olympic dominance. That fracture didn't just cost her training stability, it shook sponsor confidence too. And then there are the financial rumors. Reports surfaced that disputes with her former agent led to delayed payments and messy contract negotiations. Insiders say Elaine quietly restructured her management team to gain more control, but the turmoil risked her endorsement pipeline. Elaine's career is a reminder that being the fastest woman alive doesn't shield you from slow-burning scandals. She's battled her body, her camp, and the business of athletics, all while smiling for the CA. 2. Tina Clayton. Tina Clayton came into the track world seemingly seeded for greatness. Born in 2004, she has gold medals in the 100 meters and 4x100 meters relay at the World Under-20 Championships in 2021 and 2022. Her blazing personal best of 10.95 seconds in the 100 meters made her one of Jamaica's fastest juniors ever. On paper, Tina's rise looks smooth, but behind every stripe and relay victory, there's tension with twin sister Tia. Many early headlines paired them together, calling them the fastest twins in the world.
Battle there for the bronze medal. Well, all the battons as, oh no, Great Britain, it all went wrong for them on the last change, but it is Jamaica.
Tina often edged out Tia in junior races, but that constant comparison came with its own weight. Another thing most fans don't know is Tina's body has gone through growing pains. As she transitioned from U20 to senior level, she dealt with fatigue and subtle timing issues like false starts. In 2024, although she was expected to feature, she didn't always deliver in finals. Some races, she blinked under pressure. There's also the matter of expectations. As she stepped into senior competition and won national titles, like the one she claimed in 2025 with a personal best of 10.81 seconds at the Jamaican Championships, people started measuring her against icons.
What a race that was. Changing of the guard.
Tina must carry not just the weight of her own rivalry and career, but the hopes of fans who believe she might be next in line after names like Fraser Price and Thompson Hera. Tina Clayton's real secrets aren't scandalous. They're the sacrifices, the pressure of comparison, the small physical battles, and the choice to keep her personal life behind the scenes. In sprinting, she's proving that sometimes what's hidden matters more than what's on the banner. And now we've arrived at the very top of the list. She's not only taking the #1 spot on this list, she's also the #1 female athlete in Jamaica. 1. Shelly Ann Fraser Price. Shelly Ann Fraser Price isn't just a champion, she's a brand, a mother, and a millionaire many times over. With 5 100-meter world titles, 2 Olympic golds, and over a decade of dominance, her appearance fees and endorsements make her one of the highest-paid athletes in Jamaica. Nike has bankrolled her for years, while local sponsorships and international speaking engagements padded her fortune. But wealth is only part of her story. One of her biggest secrets was her hidden assets. While fans imagine her living modestly, there were rumors about properties quietly tucked away in Kingston and luxury cars that never made her Instagram.
Include a children's play area, sports and gym area, high-end restrooms, and others.
2024 Toyota Land Cruiser Prado, a Mercedes-Benz GLE, and a gated property valued in the millions are all part of her real portfolio. Fraser Price rarely flaunts them, but those luxuries remind everyone she's not just fast, she's financially savvy. Another secret is the doping shadow. In 2010, Fraser Price tested positive for oxycodone, a banned substance, and served a 6-month suspension. She claimed it came from prescribed medication for pain, but critics argued the punishment was too light for a world champion. In an interview, she admitted that her failed test was the lowest point of her otherwise sterling career.
2010, I must say, that's when I had the pill incident, and it's still something that I think it's there. You can't escape it. You go, you read it, it's there, it's part of.
She also hides her business maneuvers in plain sight. Beyond athletics, she's invested in her hair salon, Chic Hair Ja, and multiple ventures that keep her income steady even after retirement. Few know that she negotiates many deals herself, carefully controlling her image to maintain her reputation as the people's champion, while enjoying millionaire luxuries behind closed doors. Now that we've talked about Jamaica's most successful women in sport, what if I told you there's another set of women who are pulling even more strings? See our video on "This is the richest wife in Jamaica. She secretly owns the country." You'll be shocked at what you'll discover.